This is the Louie T Network.
Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. First comes the preseason, and I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. We in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 3 in the National Football League. Ravens on the road taking on the Cleveland Browns. AFC North family business. Both teams coming into the matchup at 1-1. Both coming off of huge wins a week ago. Ravens at home, taking care of the Pittsburgh Steelers on primetime television decisively. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns come out on top in a nail-biter versus the New Orleans Saints. Both teams looking to use the momentum gained by their first victory of the season to power through their opponent in week number 3. This is a huge matchup in the AFC North. So let's talk about how this game came to its conclusion. You start in the first quarter, Ravens go on a 12-play, 60-yard drive, and it was slowed down by a false start penalty by Eugene Monroe, put them in 3rd and long, weren't able to convert, thus they had to settle for a field goal by Justin Tucker. It's 3-0, Ravens on top. Browns crowd was involved early on. They were juiced, and the energy coming from the crowd was so resonant. I mean, I could feel the energy coming through the television set. I got goosebumps listening to this crowd get involved early on in this game. You could tell they were excited about this Browns football team and what they had put forth on the field in the previous 2 weeks, including that huge win a week ago, had given them something that they've lacked in the factory of sadness for a while now, and that's genuine hope. They felt like they should win this game against the Ravens, and they came out making a lot of noise, and I was happy to see this crowd get involved, and I think the offense really fed off of that energy early on in this game as they moved the football right down the field. Big play to J.C. Money. J.C. Money, Jordan Cameron, 23 yards. Very next play, Travis Benjamin for 43 yards as the Browns are just like that in the Ravens red zone. Then Matt Elam commits a PI in the end zone, puts the ball down to the 1-yard line to set up. Wake up, Mr. West! Mr. West! Terrence West, 1-yard touchdown. Browns assume the lead at 7-3 in this game. We move on to the second quarter, and the Ravens put together a mean drive, a bully-like drive, 9 consecutive runs. Wasn't even Raymond Rice, as we know he's no longer a part of this team. Wasn't Bernard Pierce either. He wasn't even active. It wasn't even Justin Forsett that was gashing you on this drive. It was Lorenzo Taliaferro, the rookie running back out of Coastal Carolina, that did you in. 9 consecutive running plays by the Ravens. And then on the 10th play of the drive, they stick it in the belly of the back, pull it out, only to find wide open fullback Kyle Juszczyk walks into the end zone from 9 yards out as the Ravens reassume the lead 10-7 in this game. And that was a huge play because it started the Kyle Juszczyk show. That's not going to be the last time you hear his name as the Ravens take the lead 10-7. Browns with some tomfoolery, a little bit of trickery, going into the bag of tricks, trying to be cute. And it was a very cute play, very well orchestrated, but it was not a legal play as the Browns tried to get Johnny Manziel involved in the offense. They brought him onto the field, and then as it looks like he's exiting the field, he stops, still in the field of play, puts his hands up as to say, hey, what's going on? They snap the football, he runs down the sidelines, they throw it to him, picks up a huge chunk of yardage, but that whole play was all wrong. Everything about it was illegal, and the resident in-house ex-official Mike Carey for CBS basically said, hey, there's about 10 things wrong with this play. Number one, his back was turned to the line of scrimmage. Your shoulders must be parallel to the line of scrimmage. Number two, you can't be that close to the sidelines. You must be a part of the play. You cannot deceive the defense by being that close to out of bounds. You must be 5 yards away from the coach's box and the sidelines. He was neither. So there are a multitude of things wrong. All in all, the play did not count. They ended up being penalized for the play. They had to punt, but it made a whole bunch of hoopla. You're getting an extra highlight shown on every sports media outlet, so congratulations for doing that. But this play had no bearing on the game. It was just something to talk about. We move on as the Ravens try to get some points before the half. They suffer a gruesome injury, and for a Ravens fan, this had to be a sad sight for your eyes. Dennis Pitta goes down on a non-contact injury. You always expect the worst when you see a guy who's had an injury before go down, no contact. And with Dennis Pitta, it was his hip before. So to see him go down the way he did, simply catching a pass out in the flats, he stumbles, takes a bad step on the hip and goes down immediately and tries to get up, realizes the hip isn't right. And you knew from that point on that his hip probably was dislocated again. And guys normally don't come back from dislocated hips. For him to come back once was a true testament to him as not only a man, but as a football player, and the perseverance and the determination that it took. But this time, I just don't know if Dennis Pitta will be able to do it again. Your hip is nothing to play with, and this is the second time he's dislocated. I think we may have seen the last of Dennis Pitta in the National Football League. My prayers go out to him and his family. I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that he's able to come back, but that is a gruesome injury. Nonetheless, he goes down. Ravens try to get some points before the half, but they run into the Browns defense as they put pressure on Flacco, and he tries to get rid of the football to Justin Forsett, and actually does. Could have been a huge mistake on the part of Flacco trying to get rid of the football while Browns defenders are around. Luckily enough, nothing happened other than a huge loss, pushing them out of field goal range and ending the half. We are 10-7, Browns down by 3 as we go to the third quarter. C.J. Mosley with a foolish, unnecessary roughness penalty. That's his second huge penalty in 3 weeks. He's got to stop with the nonsense after the whistle has been blown. He was flagged in that Cincinnati game that led to a field goal. He was flagged here for 15 yards on the very next play. Isaiah Crowell gets in the end zone on a 14-yard touchdown scamper. So these plays impact your team negatively when you give up a free 15. Things start to happen, and in the case of the Ravens, 14 yards from Isaiah Crowell into the end zone. Browns ahead in this game 14-10. The Kyle Juszczyk show continues. I talked about him earlier, and on this particular drive, he not only caught it, he ran it, he actually ran a route, came back to the football, made himself available for Joe Flacco. He just did some of everything for a guy his size and the way that he moves. You got to be impressed with Kyle Juszczyk and his ability to make things happen with the football in his hands. Caught a pass out of the flats, was handed the football on another play. Then, like I said, went up the field, came back to the football, made himself available for Joe Flacco, who was scrambling on the play. Kyle Juszczyk was huge on this drive, sets up a 1-yard Lorenzo Taliaferro touchdown. Ravens go back out in front 17-14, and the Browns answer that score with a huge game by Andrew Hawkins. Hawk was huge in this game. Then Crowell with another big run, and T-Sizzle blows up some chicanery by the Browns. They tried to get cute with a little bit of a reverse. T. Sizzle would have none of it, drops them for about a 7-yard loss. Doesn't matter though, the Browns are able to overcome that loss. Hawk gets 12 on 3rd and 11. So, like I said, Hawk was huge in this game, and Andrew Hawkins has been a big part of this Browns offense since coming over from Cincinnati. Then Miles Austin caps off the drive with a 6-yard touchdown grab. Browns back out in front, 21-17 as we go into the fourth quarter. First play of the fourth quarter, Double J, Jacoby Jones, drops a deep ball, and this is the second time he's dropped a wide open deep ball this season. And Flacco has to be upset with his receivers because they've dropped too many passes this year alone, and we're only in week 3. And they've dropped some big gainers, and those are deflating. When you see a guy wide open, you hit him in stride, and they drop the football, that takes the air, the sails out of an offense. And so guys have to make plays, and at some point you can't blame the offensive line, you can't blame the quarterback, you can't blame the running backs for the protection. You got to make a play if you're a receiver, if you're a tight end. And these Raven receivers seem to let Joe Flacco down at some point in just about every single game. And it was the same thing here, Double J dropping a wide open deep ball. So the very next play, they try to go deep again. This time, the Browns put pressure on Flacco. He's hit by Paul Kruger. And what a season he's having thus far. I think Mike Pettin coming in has made the world of difference for a guy like Paul Kruger, who is getting enormous amounts of pressure on opposing quarterbacks. He hit Flacco as he was throwing the football. Ball goes sky high in the air. And, of course, Johnny on the spot, Tashawn Gibson, picks it off, gives the Browns great field position. But Billy Cundiff, you know I struggle to say his name because he's a choke artist. What does he do? He misses from 50 yards out, which gives the Ravens excellent field position. And what do the Ravens do with that field position? Steve Smith for 32 yards. But the Browns defense stands up. They harden in the red zone inside the 15-yard line as the Ravens go for it on 4th and 1 and do not get it. Turnover on downs. Huge stop by the Browns defense. The score still remains 21-17, Browns ahead in the game. Hoyer to Gabriel for 71 yards. After the emotion of getting that 4th and 1 stop, the Browns offense comes in, and right away Billy Ho goes up top to Gabriel for a 71-yard gain. Now, he should have scored on this play. I feel like anytime you get a defender kind of turned around and you can kind of, mess with them, go this way, go that way, have them just kind of in no man's land, you got to score. He stopped, allowed the Raven defender to grab him and sling him down on the ground. And that was a huge tackle by that Raven defender because Billy Cundiff has to come out and attempt another field goal. And Billy Cundiff is a guy that you don't want on the field late in ball games. Well, this one is blocked. Not all Billy's fault. Nonetheless, it's blocked by Asa Jackson. No points for the Browns. And you could kind of get the feeling and you could sense that the Browns were going to throw this game away because they had ample opportunities to put this game out of reach, and they never took full advantage of those opportunities. So it's still 21-17. Ravens hanging around in a game that they should be down by 10 points or more in. And so pass interference by Justin Gilbert puts the football inside the 10-yard line, but the Browns again stand up defensively, force a field goal. It's now 21-20, Browns still ahead. Browns have 2 possessions to eat up the clock. They've got 2 drives where if they put together 2 first downs, they win this football game. That's it. They get 2 opportunities, once with 5 minutes left in the game. If they get 2 first downs, make the Ravens use all of their timeouts and pick up 1 more first down, this game is over. Instead, they go 3 and out, punt the football. Ravens get the football and they have to punt. Browns get it back again, this time with 2 minutes and some change. If they are able to pick up 1 first down, this game is over. Instead, they go 3 and out once again, and that's when I knew that the Browns weren't going to win this game. They punt the football one final time too. And I talked about this already. Who's the guy that I want with the football in his hands late in the ball game to win it? Give me Joe Flacco every day of the week, because we all know he's Joe Cool with the game on the line. And of course, Joe Flacco takes his team down the field, puts them in field goal range for who else but just incredible as he comes in, knocks home the game-winning field goal, and the Cleveland Browns are put to rest at home 23-21 in heartbreaking fashion. They played well enough to win, but they did not make the winning plays. And until you win games like this, you're not over the hump if you're the Cleveland Browns. As a Cleveland Browns fan, you've got to feel like we've got to stop losing games like this. We're not a legit contender until we stop losing games like this. We've got to find a way to get this one in the win column. You didn't. And so the Ravens steal a game from you that you probably should have won 23-21. Big win for the Ravens on the road. Ravens start the season with 3 divisional games, go 2 for 3 in those games. So, hey, can't feel too bad about that. Found a way to get 2 out of the 3. Now you just got 3 more divisional games, 2 of which are going to be on the road. So big win for the Ravens. They're now 2-1 on the season. Browns dropped to 1-2. Tough loss if you're the Browns. Had this one, let it slip away. Now you go back to the drawing board and see if you can get a win in week number 4. That's going to do it for the wrap-up of Ravens Browns. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. I've got plenty more games to break down in week number 3 in the National Football League. See you in a bit.